Today, the latest on the U.S. involvement in the Russia-Ukraine conflict and much more because it's Monday. So we've got a lot for you, and it's all coming right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sara Gonzales, today joined by my good friend, America's favorite cowboy, and also author of Am I Crazy, which trust me, you all need to get right about now if you don't already have it, Chad Prather.
It is good to be with you, Sara Gonzales.
Wow, that
yes,
was so
I'm full
radio.
of energy.
Hello, Chad Prather.
I am Glenn Beck.
Like I said, it's Monday. You never know what's going to happen. Also joined by Eric July, BlazeTV contributor and host of For Cannon's Sake. So I feel like this is very reminiscent of 2020 when the only thing that was going on was COVID. And there were like a little bit of new developments every day, but that's what's leading the headlines is COVID, 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 and you had to talk about it until you were sick to death of talking about it. This time it is the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But it is so important to talk about the latest of it because the United States had been talking. NATO had obviously been trying to coordinate how involved they were going to get in this particular conflict, and Secretary of State Antony Blinken actually came out over the weekend and told Face the Nation that if NATO countries did want to provide fighter jets to Ukraine, which, by the way, Russia was saying, you guys better not do this. If they wanted to provide something like fighter jets to Ukraine, that they would get the green light to do so. Here's that exchange.
If, for instance, the Polish government, a NATO member, wants to send fighter jets, does that get a green light from the U.S., or are you afraid that will escalate tension?
No, that gets a green light. In fact, we're talking with our Polish friends right now about what we might be able to do to backfill their needs if, in fact, they choose to provide these fighter jets to the Ukrainians. What could we do? How can we help to make sure that they get something to backfill the planes that they're handing over to the Ukrainians?
Meanwhile, earlier today, a third round of talks between Russia and Ukraine ended without a breakthrough. Russia obviously is pressing Ukraine to give up a large slice of eastern Ukraine as a condition for Russia to stop their invasion. And before these latest negotiations took place today, Vladimir Putin had also demanded that Ukraine accept neutrality, abandon all of their efforts to join NATO, and completely demilitarize, which, I mean, seems like that's quite an offer there. Like, hey, don't call for help, and also eliminate all of your ability to actually help yourselves. So the conversations have stalled yet again. Does it make you guys a little bit nervous to hear Blinken going on national television and saying, yes, we will involve ourselves. Yes, we're totally fine with NATO involving itself by way of of supplying fighter jets, supplying, military equipment to Ukraine, even though Russia has insisted that we not do that?
Yeah, I spent all of the last 6 months hoping that Polish warplanes were going to be flying over Ukrainian airspace, defending them against Russia. I've been so excited about this.
Have you?
I mean, what else?
As soon as Biden got elected, you were like, yes.
I mean, well, something had to end the variants, So here we are, Antony Blinken. I do miss Fauci, though. Don't you miss Fauci?
Like, I mean, I never thought I would. But
he's in the wind. He's like the groundhog on Groundhog Day. They put him back in the box. When this is all said and done, he'll come back out. They'll see if he can find his variant shadow. But no, I'm not excited about this. I'm puzzled, I think, is the biggest reaction that I have to any of it. I have very strong opinions, as I'm sure most people do, in all of these things. I'll just put it this way. Anybody that comes out and says they're an expert on what's going on and they just got it nailed down, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. I think there's a multi-level, multifaceted drama that's happening here that they're just not. I just know that I've learned over the last 2 years especially that if this is the one big elephant the mainstream media is pointing to that's in the room, there's something else going on, and you're not getting all the facts.
Yeah, especially with all of the misinformation that we've been seeing circulate across social media, all of the videos that turned out to not be correct, the stories that have been told, the ghost of Kyiv, and all of these other things. And by the way, you guys are telling me that I'm saying it incorrectly. correctly. No, I'm not. I'm actually saying the Ukrainian pronunciation of the capital, Kiev, is actually the Russian pronunciation of that city. So
I've been to both places.
Please, I'm just going by what the Ukrainians have said. If you want to continue to say it the way that Russia does, that's fine. But I'm not a giant idiot. I'm just a partial idiot. Eric, go ahead.
Look, I do think this, and I'm not a doomer by any means, but I do think that this is going to be a case where at some point this is going to be escalated to U.S. involvement.
Does it seem like they want it?
It does seem like they're being like a little too chicken crap, because what they're trying to do is like, okay, we're only going to do, all right, we'll supply you with this, we'll supply you with that. But what's going to end up happening, and this is what I predicted earlier on when this whole happened, there'll be something like provoking, like the American bid, something like be it made they destroyed their equipment or something like that will happen, and then that will then justify their involvement. Now, Joe Biden had been talking about this. I don't know if it was over the weekend or at the end of the week when he was discussing like, okay, well, what's to say if they are going to just stop at Ukraine? Mm-hmm. That was a big worry, or I don't know if they're legitimately worried about that, or more as they trying to sell the people on that so they can say we should get involved because this may escalate to something where, let's say, these guys that are in NATO, the countries that are in NATO, are going to end up being the ones invaded. So before it even gets to that point, we might as well do what it is that we got to do, because when it seems like, okay, they're not going to be involved, you have Blinken or someone say something like that, like we're already green lighting fighter jets. Mm-hmm. Now, like you mentioned, they're like, you probably shouldn't do that. Now, I don't know. On the other hand, it could be, maybe the tides turn or whatever, and Russia says, okay, we're going to cut our losses and go. But as everybody is talking, which to what Chad was saying, you don't know what's true and really what's not. Everybody's acting as if Putin isn't this madman, or some people say, oh, he's different now, he's completely crazy, so that's not on the table, that he maybe wants to provoke you guys to get involved for the sake of legitimizing a war. I don't really know what's going to happen, but what I can say is that it does look like in some way, shape, or form, the U.S. is going to be involved in this.
Well, the provoking thing, I think, is a provoking thought. First of all, they came into Ukraine in one of the most easily defended against formations with a convoy. Airstrike, you smoked that. I mean, you end that thing right there. And it's like, but they knew that the Biden administration wasn't going to do anything. Right. They knew they were playing against impotence and unwillingness. So I still like the whole theory that Putin has a brain tumor and he's losing it and he's going crazy. And
I haven't heard that one.
I mean, it's been floated. But then you got Zelensky. Is he an actor? Is this a pawn show? I mean, is he a pawn in a show? Is somebody pulling the puppet strings? I don't know. There's too many things that just like, if Putin is after world domination, I don't think he is. I think philosophically at his core, yeah, but I think he's also a realist that he's like, that's not going to happen, no matter how impotent Joe Biden in this administration is. But it's like, it's weird the way this, if you want to call it an attack, I guess you would, is happening.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it really is. And I thought it was interesting, too. I posed a question on Twitter, very, very scientific poll on Twitter, I did. And I asked a question. Now, I chose my words very carefully. So who do you trust more to tell you the truth about what is happening between Russia and Ukraine? And your only options were Vladimir Putin and the American mainstream media. And like 80% of the people said Putin.
I voted in your poll and I said Putin.
Yeah, because it's like, who do you trust to like have our best interests or like not be cruel, but who do you trust to at least tell you the truth?
Well, then it shows you.
But right, because that's the problem, is that everyone's hearing from, CNN and all of the lefties who used to have the wear a mask profile pictures are now like praying for Ukraine. And it's like, it just, you don't want to trust it because you know how much they've lied in the past. And then you're like, well, Putin's a bad guy, but he at least admits that he's a bad guy. And so I understand the inner conflict of like, I don't know who to trust.
Well, and now you have where Putin is basically shutting down information.
Yeah. Facebook
in
is
Russia.
Gone.
Well, I mean, I keep joking about it. I said, look, you got CNN's out of there, Facebook's gone, YouPorn or whoever it was is gone, and Coca-Cola. So in 6 weeks, Russia's going to be the most well-adjusted, free-thinking, healthiest nation on the planet.
That's amazing.
Just by getting rid of all of that stuff. So But he is shutting down the information. So whether he's wanting people not to hear truth of what's happening and Glenn said something on his show this morning, and I agree with that. I wish we had someone in leadership who could be like Ronald Reagan during the fall of communism and just be on Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, whatever, and just continually piping in every day the voice of the President of the United States. Says, we see you, we hear you, talking to the people of Ukraine. Yeah. We see you, we hear you, but making sure that the citizens who are involved in this are getting that information.
So I do want to get to the citizens because I think it is a very interesting dynamic here. I am not a historian, but I can't recall ever seeing it before, that all of these other countries seem to be taking out all of this. It's like they're sanctioning the people and not the government.
Well,
like you have Visa,
happens,
MasterCard, they're like, no, we're not doing business in Russia anymore. We're not. Netflix is like, you're not allowed to Netflix and chill. You're not allowed to if you're a Russian citizen. It's like these people had nothing to do with where they live
on the other hand, I do get a kick out of seeing people now all of a sudden gripe about being deplatformed despite not having anything to do with something, or rather because of political nonsense.
Right.
Now all of a sudden so many people care about having access to Visa.
Right.
That's so interesting to me. But that was always going to be the case.
Yeah.
That's what a sanction. I know people talk about sanctions and be it even in the economic sense, the use of tariffs and all of this stuff. Who do you think at the end of the day, no matter what level that you look at it, even if it is against the quote unquote government, it still trickles down to the citizenry, no matter what it is. That's what it does. As we say it all the time, the quote unquote people don't go to war. The government does. Yeah. So, yes, this is why I said, and it may be a little unpopular, but it's the reality of the situation. Though I understand Lindsey Graham is a freaking idiot, and he probably shouldn't say what it is that he said, the part that is true is that it is on the Russians to deal with Putin. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, when he's putting all of the shackles on you, you can't go protest, and that ain't us doing that. That's your government doing that.
To your point, you're right, Eric. I agree with you. Now, let's look at Joe Biden. It's our responsibility to deal with Joe Biden.
Exactly. That's the point I made.
Joe Biden is going to come out and put sanctions on the Russian pipeline. So apparently he's saying, well, it's going to affect them economically and make them toe the line if we put sanctions on their pipeline. Listen, Joe Biden put sanctions on the American pipeline, on the Keystone pipeline. Yes. So he knows that it's affecting us economically. These guys and these elites and these globalists, they're not going to miss any meals.
Yeah.
But I paid $5 a gallon this morning for diesel.
But to your point, the Biden administration is actually trying to blame this particular crisis, what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, on the gas prices are high because of that. And it's like,
well, no, that gives them the out. Also, that was the point that I didn't mention earlier.
As if it hadn't been created, as if the prices didn't start rising way before that.
Or even then, when you look at the regulatory bodies, be it at the federal level or in the state level, and how they kind of approach lack of, they won't let you drill, the fracking, and all those issues that we've talked about many times on the show. That's a self-inflicted wound by way of the government. Mm-hmm. So even if it was true, Russia's a piece of crap, whatever, and we export 10%, the only reason that is happening is because the government won't allow us to produce our own energy.
Right.
That's the only reason that is happening. So even if we conceded that it was true that the gas prices are rising because of this Ukrainian-Russian conflict, the reason it's that way ain't because of Russia, it's because of you.
Yeah.
It's because of you.
I want to get into the topic of energy and where we are getting our energy whenever we return. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Birch Gold Group. So we're talking about the prices rising for gas. You guys, if you have been I don't know, unless you're living under a rock, you're doing things like going to the grocery store, you're realizing how much more you're paying for things. The inflation is completely out of control. It looks like you're paying 47% more for fuel than a year ago. You're paying 41% more for the same used vehicle if you're buying it this year instead of taking them up on their offer last year. You're paying almost 10% more to feed your family. Every dollar in your savings is worth less than it was a year ago. Do not wait on this. Hedge against the U.S. dollar by investing in something with real value. That is gold and silver from Birch Gold. Precious metals have always been a safe haven in times of inflation. Birch Gold is the leader in converting IRAs and 401ks into a tax-sheltered IRA that is backed by gold and silver. They've got thousands of satisfied customers. They've got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. You are going to know that you are doing business with a good company that can help you. Again, things are not getting better, you guys, so you don't want to sleep on this and wait until you have lost more money. Go text the word Y to 989898. You'll get a free info kit. There is no obligation. There's no reason not to do this. You guys pick up your phone, text the word Y to 989898. So we're talking about gas prices and energy dependence. I was going to say energy independence, but that's not really what's going on here. It's more so energy dependence. The national average price for a gallon of gasoline has topped $4 in the United States for the first time since 2008. That is an increase of nearly 50 cents just since Russia launched its invasion into Ukraine 11 days ago. And the national average hit 4.009 on Sunday. Prices jumped roughly 9 cents since Saturday. So that's good. That's really, we're on a good track, you guys. Chad, I can't even imagine having a gigantic truck like you do. I have a mid-size SUV, and I paid $81 to fill it up, and I was like, oh,
it's
God,
over, it's over
hurts.
$100 to fill
Can you
mine.
do that? Because some gas stations
Well,
don't they cut you off?
You just have to stop, and you got to recharge your card, and you got to redo it.
They're going to have to change the limits.
So this morning when I stopped, it stopped me at $95. I had 3/4 of a tank. I still had more to go.
Jesus Christ,
That's
man.
so gross.
Big truck. Now my buddy Jeremy Christopherson, he's British and he's American. He's more American than me and you. He installed he can go like 1,000 miles on a tank of gas. He put in a double-sized. He's got the same truck as I do. He put in twice the size gas tank over the weekend. And so his thing, he showed it shows your miles to empty. It was like 985.
No way. That's
like
really funny.
you got to mortgage a tank of gas.
That's funny.
So here's the thing. I would love to be able to say, like, so tomorrow night's episode, I think we're going to name it Glenn Beck is Wrong. All right? And we're going to try to get Glenn on Wednesday to come
risky.
and do a rebuttal. So I'm going to talk to people tomorrow night because Glenn keeps saying on his show, we just got to turn the pumps back on. We got to get American oil going. We got to get energy independence. Well, the problem is you can't do that now. You can't do that. We're in the perfect storm for energy independence. So I would love to be screaming Midland, Texas over Moscow, Russia. I would love for that to be my battle cry right now. But the problem is you have these pumps that decline when they're not in use. So we've gone from about 900 pumps to 500 pumps. I'm talking about West Texas. You can't just turn the knob and those things come back on. So now you have a labor shortage. Now you have a steel shortage. You've got supply chain issues. You've got people who are just barely pumping enough oil just to get a little steady income so they can pay their debts over the pandemic that happened in 2020 that shut everything down. So it would take a minimum of 6 months of sacrifice and hard work to get us back online, whether it's the Keystone Pipeline or just pumping our own, fracking our own, getting those hydrocarbons out of the earth. It would take at least 6, probably 9 months for us to get back to a point where we were prior to the pandemic. And that's the thing that people aren't factoring in. You can't just say, let's go. So again, Glenn said on his show, he said, let's just, even if we did it for the next 9 months while this problem is going on in Ukraine, well, it would take us 9 months just to get back online. And that's the thing that people aren't thinking about. It's not that easy. And don't forget the federal regulations and the permitting that it takes to get that out of the earth.
So then what are your thoughts on Ted Cruz, Republican senator from here, Texas? Ted Cruz has introduced a bill to restore American energy independence with all of these increasing gas prices. He said that his bill is focused on reversing Biden's actions so we can restore American energy independence. It won't cost taxpayers a dime. And it will expedite permitting, leasing safe new pipelines and exports, and providing much needed regulatory certainty. In addition to that, he says it would, create new jobs, lower energy costs, all of that. But I found it interesting. Elon Musk is even saying, this is Elon Musk, you guys. Hate to say it, but we need to increase oil and gas output immediately. Extraordinary times demand extraordinary measures, to which Ted Cruz said couldn't agree more. Unleash American energy now. So, Eric, I want to get your thoughts, but Chad is saying all of that.
We do need to do all of that. Let's start now towards that process, but it's not an overnight. It's not an overnight process. It's not just going to happen. And so when I talk to my friends in the Permian Basin of Texas, when I talk to my friends that are in the oil and gas industry, they throw their hands up and they say, these politicians politicians, they don't listen to what we're saying. They're not hearing our concerns. And listen, I'm a person who just came off of a gubernatorial campaign in Texas. I've talked to these oil and gas people. They want nothing more than to see, oil and gas to come back online in the way that it should. And we should have energy independence in the state of Texas as well as in America. But it's just not going to happen overnight.
Yeah. Eric?
Like I said, it's a self-inflicted wound, and we've all got to this point right now. Now, the reason why Elon, I feel like I'm talking about what I talked about last year, was it, or the year before? Was it last year when we had the whole freeze and I was
February.
griping at, ERCOT and all of that sort of
February
stuff?
of 20, yeah.
And,
21, sorry.
Yeah, so people were, talking about ERCOT, not understanding who was on the boards of ERCOT, and the fact that I remember Abbott had to ask, which was insane to me, ask the federal government to be able to utilize, certain portions of his energy because of course, federal regulations regarding climate bullcrap and all of that. So now you got to the point to where we're at now, where you are somewhat at least dependent on, let's say, external sources for your energy. The reason why Elon's saying what he's saying right there, because you get these idiots who are like, well, I'm pretty sure people have said that, I spent all this money on my oil or on gas or whatever. And they're like, well, you should basically just get an electric car. What do you think?
Pete Buttigieg did say that, actually, yeah.
Okay, so what do you think powers that? What do you think the electricity comes from to basically
It's a magic hole in the wall.
That's what
all
it is.
it is.
And that lets you know how stupid these people are. And I learned that last year, how stupid people are, and that even if you do get this electric vehicle, it still in some way, shape, or form depends on, let's say, the oil and gas industry to get the energy to, let's say, your car to power it up. But they don't even understand that. So I don't expect the politicians to understand any of that until it hits the fan. And like you mentioned, I know you go and campaign and actually talk to those people. Me having lived, definitely throughout South Texas and living out there and seeing how that even impacts the oil and gas industry impacts out there. You're right that these people want nothing more than to be able to basically do their own thing, but they are legitimately strapped.
Yeah.
And if you want to correct that problem, it's not to them that you look to, it's to that politician that you look to that, again, has strapped essentially their hands behind their back and really effectively, I think we can use this term, made it illegal for them to just go and do their thing. Because it doesn't make any sense, and I think everybody that's in this industry agrees that it doesn't make any sense why America isn't, if anything, a net exporter of energy, let alone depending on some foreign country to get that. Because I know now they're trying to ask Iran and all that.
Our good friends Iran and Saudi Arabia.
I'm like, what?
And Venezuela. They're down there talking to Venezuela right now. But think how fast the federal government would come to the rescue if we were talking about wind or solar energy. They'd be bailing them out, getting them back online, subsidizing them, doing everything they could to get them pumping again. No pun intended, but they would. I mean, that's exactly what they would be doing.
That's what they did. People don't understand.
Done it historically.
Exactly. People don't understand, even in Texas, the amount of that type of energy, be it in wind and solar, amount of that this government has put forth to subsidize that industry is insane. It's actually more. People were under the moronic impression that, well, it's because of the gas and oil industry that we're in this issue that happened during that winter freeze last year. And I'm like, have you actually looked at where your taxpayer dollars are going in terms of what they're subsidizing? It's not oil and gas on net in terms of what they have hyper-emphasized in this last couple of years on net, really, if you embody the whole country.
Yeah.
It's solar and wind. It ain't nuclear, which I just don't understand why we talk much about renewable energy, and they don't even consider that as an option, I guess, because it just blows up everything, but that's a myth. But here we are, and now we're, again, asking Iran and Venezuela of all people.
Well, it's nice because you can tell how unserious a person is about environmentally friendly, climate change alternatives on whether or not they even consider nuclear.
Yeah, they just reject it immediately. It's like we won't even consider that as an option. It's only wind and solar and maybe water, but that's it. That's it.
Yeah. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Raycon. So I have this new home workout machine that I've been using, and Oh, yes. I'll have to show you.
I got a lot of jokes in my head right now. But
Gosh,
okay.
it's so fun. Well, I'm talking about Raycon right now, okay? So all that to say, you can. It's Bluetooth capable. So I've been hooking it up to my Raycons because I don't want my toddler in the other room to hear with his nanny that I'm over there and bother me. So I'm hooking it up to my Raycon wireless earbuds, and it is like amazing because I'm doing my workout, I'm jumping around, I'm like lifting, I'm doing all these things, and they stay in my ear. It doesn't matter how much you shake them, how crazy you're getting. I don't want to know the kind of things you people do in your spare time. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, all right? And I'm telling you, they don't have the stupid stems coming out of your ears, so it's not going to like weigh it down. It's not going to fall out. It stays in. It's super comfortable, and it has the best audio quality that I have found. They also have these gel tips. They've got several different options for you to find your perfect in-ear fit. They're very, very comfortable, and they've got plenty of different colors for those of you who like to get, you got the blue, you got the pink. Chad's laughing at me. I need everything in pink. And Raycon can do that. They can do it for you. They do it for me. They also offer 8 hours of playtime, a 32-hour battery life. They're priced way lower. They're like half the price of other premium audio brands. So you got to go over there. Right now you can get 15% off at buyraycon.com/Y. That is BUY. Buyraycon.com/Y. The trucker convoy that we have talked about previously, not the Canadian one, but the trucker convoy that was headed to D.C., they apparently are delaying. They are avoiding D.C. right now out of safety concerns. Now, I can't imagine why they would have any concerns because it seems to be that, as usual, the mainstream media is covering it very, very objectively, not biased at all, not accusing these people of anything, attacks on their character, anything like that. You would never hear that from them. So just as a reference point, let's listen to MSNBC on these American trucker convoys. Watch.
Now they want what they say is accountability for what they call crimes against humanity, which are masking children or vaccine mandates. Accountability can mean anything to any number of these people, but there is a very heavy QAnon tinge to this sort of thing. The idea of military tribunals or things like that. Jesus. And that's where you're getting this anti-Ukraine talking point. The idea that Anthony Fauci has biolabs, he's creating another coronavirus in these biolabs, and that this is some sort of secret operation to take out the deep state in Ukraine. That is their idea here of sort of squaring this unsquareable circle, where for years they were told maybe Vladimir Putin wasn't the bad guy, but they're seeing all of these horrific images in Ukraine. And now they're sort of trying to figure out a way for all of this narrative to make sense.
What? Oh. What? What wag the dog BS was that?
Who are you reading? Where are you going?
I mean, like, you see those memes where it's like, no one, me, and like then it's all that verbiage. What? Word salad.
I know. They're trying so hard, though, Chad. So hard.
I mean, look at these rednecks sitting up here. Like, these are my people.
They are.
These are my people. You think these people are motivated? That sit in their truck watching, they still watching DVDs in the back of the cab. You think they're watching images from Ukraine and that's what's motivating them? Really? These are truckers. These are people that spend 9 hours on the road every day and then sleep in the cab and eat in a gas station. Really? You think this is a bunch of ideological BS that these people are pumping? This is stupid.
It also, correct me if I'm wrong, but the timing of it doesn't even work out because all of this was being discussed before this crisis, this conflict happened.
I'm going to pat myself on the back.
Okay.
So, a week and a half ago, I helped organize this. I will say that I was a part of this. Come get me, whatever. But we organized parking for the convoy west of Abilene. We even had dinner ready for them, right, from the chicken restaurant. So it's like the chicken restaurant. This is not. This is not Vladimir Lenin who's coming up with Pravda, in order to put out conspiracies for the people to read and kind of create a whole alternate truth.
Well, let's hear from one of the convoy leaders himself, Brian Braze, who's like, we don't want them to do to us what they did to all of those people involved in January 6th, so it's probably best for our safety if we just avoid it right now. Watch.
I am fearful, Brian Braze and the organizers are fearful of them trying to do to us what they did to those involved in January 6th. It is our belief that they will try to do that.
Of course they will.
So with that said, we are making diplomatic moves. That means that we're not that means at this time, meaning today and tomorrow, we are not and will not go into DC proper.
Wow, they sound like really crazy conspiracy theorists over there talking rationally and reasonably, Eric.
Look, anybody that is in opposition to the regime, you're going to be painted as in a negative light. And they will grasp for as many straws as they possibly can, which is why that guy was going on some weird I didn't even know where he was going with it, to be completely honest.
I don't think he knew either, to be fair.
He was kind of just freestyling that. Talking about Ukraine and Russia and this whole QAnon thing.
And then he threw Fauci in there?
Yeah.
Like, where did Fauci come from?
That way he's like, oh, they're trying to make sense of it. Like, nah, you trying to make sense of what it is you're saying, because you all over the place, man. But that's what they were always going to do, because it's in opposition to them. It's in opposition to the regime. And they have nothing else. They can't debate you or dispute based upon what it is you actually advocate or what it is that you believe in. It's real simple. Guys that are being in opposition to what you guys have done to this country over the last 2 years and what you are currently doing to it regarding vaccines and in terms of the mandates and all of that. It's really that simple. But they will paint you as if you are a heretic, let's say that, the most evil thing that they possibly can paint you as, because they need you to be that. Their positions aren't true unless it is. So they have to paint you that kind of way, no matter what it is that you are, because you're going against the regime, And that's what I hate out of this, because what gets actually lost in it, and they know that, they're smart enough to at least know that, because this is purposeful, is what actually this is about. Like, the state, which, again, I've said many times, I consider it a criminal organization. And then they want you to try to have some sort of sympathy in the event, sympathy for the state, in the event that there are people that are simply putting up their arms in a defense sort of mechanism. It's not even an attack. We want you to stop doing this crap to us. You're the aggressors here. So the people that go and oppose the aggressors then get painted as if they are the ones that are the attackers.
They're the aggressors.
You know, like they are the ones that are actually the aggressors, and that's not the case. So they know what it is that they're doing, and this is why we feel like the media is, certainly in the mainstream sense, are the enemies of the people. They, of course, don't care about liberty. They don't value that. But more importantly, they are willing to demonize large swaths of different people that are simply in opposition on a single issue, which is what we're talking about. It's not even, and that can embody everybody. You saw that bar, they're talking about like pro-Trump and all that. I'm willing to bet there's plenty of guys that are there that don't want anything to do with Trump. This is a single issue that, maybe people are quite slanted in one way, but you're going to find supporters on any given aisle that aren't in support of, let's say, a vaccine mandate or something. These guys are the aggressor, and all they're doing is just carrying water for the regime. That's all MSNBC and those types have ever done.
So it's interesting, as this is all going on, Republican senators apparently have sent a strongly worded letter
They always do.
to the Biden administration trying to defund the federal vaccine mandates. They said that they would not agree to the expedited passage of any funding legislation that furthers such mandates. History will bear record of whether we chose to endure tyranny or oppose it in this pivotal moment. And it's signed by James Lankford, Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Steve Daines, Rick Scott, Ron Johnson, Mike Braun, Rand Paul, and Cynthia Loomis. And they
two
say
of them are worth a crap.
They say
Rand Paul.
The senators demand a roll call vote on an amendment that would defund any remaining federal vaccine mandates on medical care providers, federal employees, government contractors, and members of the military. Look, I'm joking. I say it very tongue-in-cheek, like, oh, they wrote a strongly worded letter. I don't know what else they're supposed to do, though, because it's like there's only so much they can do. So what do you do? Is this just optics? Is this just
I mean, it's
chest
something,
puffing?
but at the end of the day, it's optics.
Yeah.
You did something.
Right.
know?
So we'll see if they follow through with, hey, we're not going to vote for any of this funding.
I don't know why anybody would believe they are, considering the last 2 years.
It's also like when it's only signed by 30 of them.
Legislators are not going to fix this. Yeah. Legislators are not going to do this. It's going to take people standing up and just taking it, punching them in the mouth. And
He means that metaphorically.
Well, whether it's punching Putin in the mouth, punching Xi in the mouth, or punching Washington, D.C. in the mouth, somebody's got to stand up to this nonsense and say, enough is enough. I did it with my own life. I don't care. I mean, look, at some point in time, you've got to say enough is enough. You got to stand up to the man. It don't matter how bad they whip your ass. I mean, you got to stand up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what we're up against.
Yeah. Eric, last word.
No, like, that's what, when we talk about liberty, man, that's what it's about. And what Chad put, I know it sounds harsh because we've been conditioned to believe that the government is just untouchable and we can't do anything, you know, to do
I got
anything.
a story for you on that.
Yeah, but we can't do anything to them, and it's just different. Even though they are the main cause of concern here, or rather, they caused all of these acts of aggression here. So when you see people finally stand up to that, people don't understand what that looks like. Because they have been conditioned like, well, you don't do that. Well, what do you think liberty looks like? Your aggressors are all right there, not exclusively, because we got our own out here in Texas. But when we talk about it at the federal level, they're in that swamp in Washington, D.C. That's just the reality of the situation. And, you know, when you stand up to them, it's going to look unorthodox, and you might not be prepared for how that looks. But that's what liberty looks like.
Yeah, it's messy. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Grove Collaborative. So there is still time. It's only March. There is still time to make 2022 the best year for your family yet. It is possible to make some really important changes. You probably got a whole list of products in your house right now that you may not realize it, you may have not thought about it, but you've got a family to take care of, and you've got a bunch of products with harsh chemicals and irritants. And look, you know, you wish you didn't, but you have to have something to clean with. You might be thinking, well, that's the only thing that I have. It's not, all right? You can go to Grove Collaborative. They carry hundreds of products aimed at replacing these and other products across your home and personal care routine. They've got concentrated cleaners. You can get the refillable glass bottles. They're twice as effective as the leading natural brands. I use Grove Collaborative. I have switched to, you know, Guys, I have a zoo at my house. I have 2 dogs. I have 2 cats. I have 2 children. I have a husband. I have a lot to consider. And with Grove, I know that what I am getting is it's good for everyone. It's green. It's environmentally friendly. It's also it's fine to be used around the kids, around the pets. So if you are looking for something that you want to feel good about, you want to feel confident about using in your home or on your skin, whatever the case may be, you got to go try Grove. Join the over 2 million households already shopping there. You can go to grove.com/news. You'll get a free gift set worth up to $50 with your first order. Shipping is fast and free, by the way. There is no reason not to do it. Grove.com/news. That is grove.com/news. So, Eric, you were mentioning how the government always seems to put their thumb on the little people, and the little people just think like, oh, well, this is just how it's supposed to be. We can't fight back. It reminds me, those of you who follow my Twitter, you may have seen me post about the Robert Francis O'Rourke town hall event that I went to this weekend. Yes, I did it. I do it for you guys. I do all of these things for you guys. I sent Chad pictures. He was like, I had
a visceral reaction.
He was very mad.
To your picture with Robert Francis.
With Robert Francis O'Rourke. And here's the thing, and Eric, we didn't talk about this off camera. I don't know if you know about this, but so what happened was, this was a public event, obviously. Anyone could come. After he spoke at the town hall event where he took questions, people lined up to get pictures with him, to talk to him, to shake his hand, to talk to him about whatever they wanted to talk to him about. I waited in the line, and I was trying to video the person behind me. I was trying to video his interaction with Beto, because he was asking him a question. I'm like, I'm gonna record this. And his staffer immediately starts waving her hand in my face. She said, oh, no, we're not recording, grabs my phone, tries to pull it, is holding my phone and my hand, tries to pull my phone out of my hand. I said, don't touch my phone, don't touch my phone. Guess what happens? Dallas Police Department comes up, puts their hands on me, forces me and grabs me and like pushes me down. I almost tripped over the steps, pushes me over to a ramp off of it and says, have a nice day. And I was like, what the hell just happened?
Wow.
This is a public event. I have a right to video. But by the way, everyone has been videoing this entire time. There were cameras out. Everyone had their cameras out. And not only did they commit battery by trying to grab my phone from me and take it, but you had Dallas police getting involved, They didn't give me any directive. They didn't ask me to do it. They didn't ask me to leave at that point. They had not. She just came right over and put her hands all over me because I guess I dared do the awful thing of trying to video someone who's running for public office answering a constituent's question.
That sounds right on brand for. I mean, everybody knows how I feel about the police, but that's a bizarre reaction. I mean, to be fair, I've had my instances with literally Dallas. I think the last run-in that I had with Dallas Police Department was exactly that. A little Asian cop. I mean, before getting a directive, I was outside of. It was back when I used to do when I was in the club scene, and I would house this stuff. I'm outside of my own freaking club, and I guess he thought I wasn't supposed to be there. And then he grabbed me, pushed me up on the wall, and put me so.
You're not allowed to do
I'm
that.
yeah, exactly. Obviously, you can't operate like that where you're first, and that's for anybody.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're a cop or not. Even if I see something that you're doing is let's say I don't understand it.
Right.
The first reaction should not be to put your hands on another individual. Again,
can't.
no matter who it is that you are. It's one thing if you're using an aggression upon someone. Filming a public official run of office, obviously there's no act of aggression there. But that's how a lot of these.
The act of aggression was on the staffer who grabbed my phone and tried to take it from me.
Right, exactly. So that's a bizarre reaction from the staffer for sure. I don't know if it was because they recognized you or something like that.
I think so.
Even then, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even. It's not even.
Well, I
relevant
know. I'm still a constituent. So even if they did, they have no right to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm a POC, which I told them. I said,
listen,
this is police
I
brutality.
had an episode in 2007 where a cop threw me on a car hood, handcuffed me. Now, granted, I was in Mexico, and I asked for it, and I was a white person surrounded by POCs. So I never got my justice. I never got my justice. I didn't walk out of there screaming, "I'm a white person."
Well, so for those of you who are wondering, I know I had all of the, leftists like, you're lying. That didn't happen. I have my side of the video on it. Chad's seen it.
I saw it.
I have my side of the video. We've requested the body cam footage from Dallas Police Department. They have up to 20 days to provide the body cam footage. They were wearing body cams. So, it wouldn't surprise me if their tax dollars were completely wasted and they're like, oh, we didn't have them on. But legally, they're supposed to. So we should get the body cam footage. We can match it up with my video and go from there. But it's just been so hard lately. I love police officers. I love the ones that I know. I love the ones who watch the show. And I see this crap. And there was even a sergeant who came up after her and basically was perfectly reasonable, but was complicit in her actions. And it's you guys have to stop letting the bad ones control this. They're going to ruin your entire freaking industry. So more on that whenever we get the body cam footage. We'll be right back. So Chad, you spent a lot of time on a gubernatorial campaign. Does it surprise you at all that Beto would have people surrounding him that would do something like that?
Well, I know I did a lot of campaign events over 19 months. Now, I'm not Bobby O'Rourke, right? I get I don't have the level of celebrity that Bobby has. But it is curious. It is curious. The way Eric said it, well, one, we fully allowed anybody that wanted to video anything. Why are you going to hide it? I said this to you. He doesn't want another viral moment. He doesn't want somebody putting him on the spot.
It sounds like you're a bad candidate.
It already happened. It's already happened. He's had some viral moments where people said, we don't want you in Texas. We don't want you doing this. So just buckle up. There's a lot of things going on. I don't care if you have a big R or a big D by your name. There's a lot of things going on in Texas politics that are not only up and up. You already know that. Hopefully it gets exposed. We'll see. But they're both sides of the coin are not good.
Yeah.
And I catch a lot of crap from people for saying that. Look, I will vote for Greg Abbott over Beto O'Rourke.
Right.
I will.
Right.
I will. But I ain't happy about none of it.
He'll do it holding his nose.
I ain't happy about none of it.
Yeah.
Because the difference is with Abbott, you can at least push him to say the things on the right. And maybe with enough pressure, we can make him do the things as well. Because he hadn't been doing that.
Well, and you wouldn't believe.
Can't do that with O'Rourke.
I'll tell you off air the lies that he was spouting to these people, and they just ate it right up. Yes. It's disgusting. All right.